Hello and welcome to episode 251 of the 77 Club. Harry, start with the socials.
It's at the West Bromwich Albion. I'm joking. No, the Wall 70, the Wall 77 Club podcast on Facebook and Instagram. At 77 Club podcast on Twitter. Please rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps. Thank you.
Sorry, we're a little bit late. We were dealing with Dan's microphone, and this is the best we could do. Dan Bayliss is here.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. It lasted 6 years. It had a good run, but Amazon's going to be taking some money from me later.
Yeah, the snowball is no more. And Jack Williams is here.
Hi, everybody.
In high definition audio. Harry, let's start with Brighton. Actually, let's go with Jack first, because Jack, you did brave the cold January weather to go to the Amex. How was it? I think you said it was football in a library, not a very good atmosphere at all, and lots of empty seats.
Yeah, it was what you'd expect from a Monday night game, really. It's one of those where I made the effort to go because, as we said in the pod last week, it's actually, quite a big game and the start of quite a difficult run for us in the league. And, if we'd managed to go there and take all 3 points, it would have been massive. We'd have pushed ourselves up into the top half of the table. And as a result of the Albion Cup tie, which we're going to talk about in a bit, this game sort of got under the radar a little bit, hasn't it? So it was one of those where when you make the effort to go on a Monday night and it's 0-0, it's always a bit disappointing. But I've seen worse 0-0s in my time by a long way, and I was actually quite pleased with the performance, especially when you factor in how we fared against Brighton, even earlier in this season, not to mention how bad it was going there last season when they did a 6. So that, there were some real positives on display where we are still playing with a few players missing and suspended. And as the game went on, I think we did really, really well to control a team who's been really good at scoring at home. I think they've scored in the last, God knows how many home games they said before that night. 20. And really, we were pretty comfortable overall. There was a few chances, a few shots from range, a few occasions that were a little bit panicky, like in the first half where that tame header was cleared off the line. But mostly it was comfortable, and I think we well deserved our point. And really, in the second half, we had the better of the chances. We had the better of the chances because they knew they had to come forward at us. And we played some good stuff and opened up some really good stuff on the break. So it was a 0-0, but it is a good point, well earned, I think. And not a complete disappointment to make my way down to Brighton on the Monday night, apart from the trying to get back, because but that we'll talk about in a minute.
Harry, I think Jack actually called the team right last week. Sarr, Kilman, Dawson, Gomez, Semedo, Doyle, Lamina, Doherty, Sarabia, Cunha, and Neto. I think Cunha was the biggest talking point for a number of reasons. One is the bizarre yellow card that he got at the end of the first half, and then taking it or trying to take it around the keeper and basically hitting the corner flag.
Yeah, he was just on the team. Yeah, the debate last week was Doherty or Hugo Bueno, wasn't it? And Doherty got the nod, which I actually thought he did okay, didn't he? He weren't awful, so wasn't disappointed in that. The team really, I was happy with it. I think that was the best possible lineup he could have picked. And yeah, Cunha, although he was involved a lot, wasn't he? His decision making on the day for me wasn't very good. Neto was getting a bit frustrated as well, especially first half, I thought. But on another day, we could have nicked it, couldn't we? Like Jack said, I felt quite safe, even though we were on the back foot a lot and Brighton had a lot of the ball as expected. We defended really well. Semedo had one of the best games I've seen him have, especially defensively. He was immense, and he helped a lot on the counter. And the big one was Cunha when he took it around the keeper, wasn't it? And you know what? Lamina had a really good chance as well, didn't he? Bit of burst of pace. Took it round the defender and a good save from Steele. And obviously Cunha's chance when he hit it over, my God. But Tommy Doyle again, fantastic in midfield. But yeah, could have nicked it. I'd have took a draw before the game. And just before you move on, Sam, I've got to get Tyler's comment up. Who's still not put their batteries in their smoke alarm then? That's you, and it's Sam. I noticed that last week. So next week, Tyler, Sam will put some new batteries in his fire alarm. I do notice that too. You're not the only one. Anyway, Bayliss, what do you think of Brighton?
Hang on, what?
Is it beeping or something?
Every so often, people listen to the podcast the last few weeks would have heard a beep. And it's someone who hasn't put batteries in their fire alarm, and I believe it's Sam. Don't try not to notice it, but it will go off in a minute.
I'm concerned
Anyway,
that you
Brighton.
can hear it and I can't. It's going to be like a meme,
yeah.
isn't it? With me sitting there going, "This is fine." And
If we're not here next week because Sam's died in a house fire, we'll know why at least.
Yeah.
Should have changed.
Anyway,
it.
Brighton.
Fairly happy with the result, to be honest. It's a tough place to go. Every time I've been there, we always seem to get hammered. So pretty happy with it. We had our chances, didn't we? It would have been a bit of a shithousery to go there and get too much, but we did have chances to win it. I thought the Cunha's follow-up was harder than people sort of think. His first shot was a great effort and a very good save. So credit where credit's due. I think the whole season, Semedo has been phenomenal. He's gone from someone I couldn't stand to someone that is one of the first names on the team sheet, works hard, clearly wants to play for the rest of the lads, and you're just starting to get that feeling about the rest of the team as well. I thought Doyle was brilliant. So there's lots of positives to take from that result. It's just he's someone who knows where the goal is.
That's what it came down to, wasn't it, Jack? I think it's a cliche in football that we hear quite a lot when they say a draw was a fair result. But I think, it's one of those games that definitely falls into that category. I think both managers said that they did enough to score and possibly win the game, but I don't think really they could grumble at a point.
No, but it's one of those where I do think that we were the most likely to go on and nick it, particularly in that second half. And that's why it's a little bit frustrating, because it is one where you can point to the big chances. Obviously, I think Cunha had two. The one where he skied the follow-up from his initial shot, which Dan just mentioned, and then the one where he tries to take it around the keeper and he just messes it up then. And the frustrating thing about that is when he's messed up that chance to take it around the keeper is that he still tries to shoot, because if he just controls the ball and looks up, we've still got half a chance then with the keeper tracking back to goal, and he just tries to the chance is gone then. It's bad decision making that you can point to, which is a bit frustrating. But overall, I can't be too disheartened, because there were lots of good performances from our team throughout the pitch. On another day, it would have just clicked. Difficult place to go, difficult night to go and get motivated for a Monday night, down in Brighton in the cold. So overall, quite happy, really. It was a difficult atmosphere from a fan's point of view. Officially, I think it was sold out in the Wolves end, but there were 4 empty seats directly to the left of me. And I think that was a pattern going on through the ground, really. I think a lot of people have bought tickets, but then probably just, not been able to sell them on or decided not to go last minute. So that impacted the atmosphere, really. And then the other thing that just got us rolled up, really, as the Wolves fans again, and we got to talk about it, is the referee. The referee was just obviously the one. I didn't see that first one, really, with the Cunha one where there's no contact but he gets booked. I only saw him arguing, really, as he came off the pitch, because you wouldn't see that without a camera. But the other one that sticks in my mind, which was just, we were just baffled, because he just seemed, obviously you're biased, but it seemed as the referee was quite happy to book our players for anything. I think we got 3 yellows on the board before Brighton even got there first. And the one that sticks in my mind is when it's Bellegarde and we get on a break. We got on a break and Bellegarde breaks away, and their player tries to just take his legs, but he keeps his balance and carries on. So after that happens and the chance comes and goes, whatever, but Bellegarde gets away, we're thinking, well, he's going to book him now. Or he's got to book him. He's tried to just take his legs out and he's made contact, but Bellegarde's just carried on because the chance is better. He's got to book him. And then we start going mad because he didn't do it. And then a few seconds later, I don't know if you've seen this on the TV either, but probably 30 seconds after that decision, Brighton sort of jostle the ball out to the corner flag, so they're getting the throw, but it comes off their player. So it's our throw. All the Wolves fans can see it behind the goal, but because Brighton are pretending like they're trying to protect it, he's giving it the other way. And we're just thinking, like, these decisions that just constantly seem to go against us. And you can just watch it there in 30 seconds of inconsistency, because if someone makes contact trying to take a player out because they're on the break and then doesn't get booked for it, like what can you do? Especially after he's been throwing yellow cards around at our players, like they're going out of fashion. So. Yeah, that was the frustrating thing, but I can't whinge about too much, really, because I said I'm happy with the point. If you'd asked me last week, I think a few of us said 1-1, didn't we, as the score prediction? So, I'm happy, and it's something to build upon. But I do think on another day, if we had our shooting boots on, we could have won that game.
Harry, there was a debut for Tawanda Chiriwa. He moved from Ipswich in the summer. I think he played sort of a handful of games in League One and got a couple of minutes. Bit of a surprising substitution, but do you think there's method in the madness?
Yeah, I was surprised at it because I thought we'd see Fraser. I really did, but it wasn't to be. And do you know what? He did well when he come on, that lad. He had a bit to do, especially defensively and offensively in the short time he was on. So fair play to him. Obviously, O'Neill must rate him. But I think it just
2 years older than Nathan Fraser.
yeah. It just highlights, our bench is a bit weak, isn't it? Especially with the players we've got away on international duty as well. I think that's what it highlighted because Brighton made loads of subs, didn't they? So yeah, but great point. It really was, and it's just we didn't have that killer instinct, as we've said. Neto, he was brilliant, wasn't he? But at the same time, a little bit frustrating for me. That one when he put it across a 6-yard box, and Cunha just stopped his run, didn't he? And he could have had a tap in at the back post. I mentioned Lamina's chance earlier. Bellegarde, did he change it that much when he come on? I didn't think so. Sarabia, I'm glad he went off because he was so frustrating. But I think the story of the day for us is how good our defence were. Like, as I mentioned, Semedo, man of the match. Dawson was solid. I thought Toti Gomez had a good game as well. And as I mentioned, Doherty didn't seem like he was involved much, but when he was called upon defensively, he did his job. So, and I mean, as you mentioned about that stat, the amount of goals Brighton have scored at home, it was very impressive that we managed to get a clean sheet. And it just shows how much we've come on in the last year or so.
And I know it's not a Wolves player, but James Milner overtook Ryan Giggs, I think it was, in the most Premier League appearances. So he's gone up to 633 now. Ryan Giggs 632. So it's only Gareth Barry 653 with more. Bayliss, from a fitness point of view, I mean, I think he's won like the fitness thing, or especially when he's Liverpool every year. Is he 36, 37 now? And free transfer in the summer. We probably won't look at him from a wages point of view, but incredible longevity.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, isn't it? I mean, I think that's where the game and most sports changed since we've grown up, is that they are all now proper performance athletes, aren't they? And it's showing with these players playing into their late 30s. I mean, you're seeing it in all sports. Like, one of the world's best cricket bowlers is in his 40s still. And it's cool to see, isn't it?
Milner's never drank, has he? But it helps. Never had a beer in his life. Yeah.
Probably something in it.
Yeah, must help a little bit. I wouldn't know, but
the one thing that annoyed me about that, though, is like when they took him off and made the substitution again, just because I'm biased and grumpy in the stands, is like the bloke announcing the substitution started giving a bloody speech about how many caps he got, and I'm like, they're playing the game here. Shut up, no one cares. Yeah, it just like started going on about, and coming off is James Milner, who Snike surpassed, blah 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 blah. Shut up. You say who's coming on and who's going off. That's it.
You've just reminded me. I've got to say, watching it on TNT Sports, Jermaine Genius was. I reckon it's the most. It was horrible to watch because he was on commentary. He made the experience hard to watch. Some of the waffle he was talking about him eating pizzas for pre-match. He spoke about seeing Neto being good for Lazio when he only made 4 appearances. So that's a classic case of him just writing that on his notes and just trying to sound clever. He was awful on co-coms. At one point, I nearly muted it, I must be honest. But yeah, I digress. But because Jack mentioned about that Tannoy, it reminded me.
They don't really have a lot of luck, do they, to be fair, with co-coms? Because, I mean, going from Steve McManaman to Jermaine Genius is, a bit of a strange one. But actually, on talking about bad punditry, but Michael Owen, just on the James Milner point, was that he said he probably wouldn't be as good a player now as he was back then, because you just have to be an athlete now, and it's whoever can go the longest, and the trickery and the magic and being that sort of striker, or the creativity is sort of gone a little bit, which I thought was quite interesting.
I mean, I thought he was quiet on the day though, Milner. He didn't do much, did he? So praise him all you like, but couldn't do much against the mighty Wolves, could he?
No. Maybe he'd had a beer. Was there a man of the match in there, Bayliss, for you?
Gotta be Semedo. That last ditch tackle was class. That's what gets the point.
Jack?
It's Semedo or Doyle for me, to be honest, and I think those are the only two genuine suggestions probably from those two, but I would say Semedo.
Harry, clean sweep of Semedo's?
Yeah, our mate Jermaine Genius gave it Neto on TNT, but yeah, it's got to be Semedo for me.
I mean, with Jermaine Genius as well, we can start sounding like Joey Barton just about Jermaine Genius now. But how do you think? I know obviously they want to pick players to be these co-pundits or co-commentators who were like previously quite good players, quite well-known players. But do you not think some of them, they just like, they do a few tests and they just say, no, you're all right, let's leave it? Like, what sort of like quality assurance training do they have to go through? I know people aren't going to be great at the start. If you look back to the early days of Gary Neville and people, they weren't great to begin with. But Jermaine Genius has been around for years now, and he presents the One Show on BBC One. So he should be top tier, really. Isn't that top tier presenting jobs? But
don't know. He's been on Match of the Day for years as well, hasn't he? I don't know if he got that gig either. I don't know.
Well, look, let's move on to the one that we're all...
Actually, before that, can I moan about my train journey?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, go on.
Brilliant. Yeah, this is just going to be a
like
cathartic podcast for me. So for those of you, a lot of you will have been to Brighton before, but those of you who don't know, the newish now ground, the Amex, isn't actually in Brighton. It's about 3 miles sort of north of it in a place called Falmer. And there is pretty much no parking around by this ground. The idea is that you get public transport in, and the public transport cost of trains and everything is subsidised by the cost of your match ticket, which sounds like a great idea. So I parked in a place on the other side of Falmer called Lewis, like a town there, and got the train in, 7-minute train into Brighton. You're right outside the ground. Brilliant. Everything seems great. And until you have to leave. And it just turns into a massive long queue. And every time I've been to that ground, whether I've gone back to Brighton, tried to hang around afterwards to find a different way back or get a bus, it's just always absolutely rammed. And I think this might be the first time where I stood in that train queue, not actually to go back to Brighton, to go back to the town the other way, for I think the same amount of time that it took me to eventually drive home back to Uxbridge. So it was like I was stood there for an hour to get a 7-minute long train. And the best part about it was, and this is one of the occasions where you just have to laugh, is the trains kept coming. And at one point there was a train waiting on the platform, and you could see, because we were in the queue, they wouldn't let you onto the platform, but you could see from the queue. And the final 3 carriages in this train, which was going to the place everybody wanted to go to, were empty, not even half full. They were like empty seats. You could see it everywhere. It was like there was 10 people in each of these 3 carriages at the back, and we're like, well, mate, we're all wanting to go on there. Why can't you let us on the train? He's like, and the bloke who was at the barrier stopping us going on was like, it's not my job to get people onto trains. Like, I think it is in this car. I think that is your job. And everyone started kicking off, but they it was just the most. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a shambles, really, in the fact that they were doing nothing to actually help the situation. They just said, that's it.
Did I meet you? I went just before COVID, the year before COVID. I stayed in a hotel for the night. And I remember the trains being absolutely woeful going back. And that was a Saturday afternoon game. Yeah. It's a good idea, but getting back, like
it's a good idea, but the queue for the train going back actually into Brighton was even worse. I mean, there's probably still people there now. It's one of these things where it's a great idea on paper, but if we ever get sold it and people come along and say they want to move Molyneux for this, and this, don't forget how lucky you are to be able to walk from your football ground and be back in the pub or back in your car in 15 minutes, because you just can't do it there. And it's one of those things where it's not a price worth paying, in my opinion, because it's just every time I've been, whichever way I've tried to do it, even for a Monday night game where you think it's going to be quiet, it's a shambles. So there you go. Moan over, but it's helpful context, I think, for people who...
I think so, yeah. So especially for the wider conversation about potentially moving Molyneux, not that I think that they will do that, but yeah, I mean, that just sounds... Was it like first-class carriages at the front of the train or something?
So, I think the justification was, they didn't want too many people on the platform, but to the extent that they wouldn't let more people on until that train had gone, even though the train was half empty, which is just stupid, isn't it? Because then you've got people waiting in this queue, which is horrible as well, like a winding queue up and down the ramp, which isn't safe at all, and you're just pissing people off because they can see trains are going half empty and they're stood there in the freezing cold. So,
have we genuinely made people wait 20 minutes for the bit they want to listen to? It's pretty fucking impressive.
Anyone got any more bits about trains? Or
you've had fun with flags, so now we've got sob about the train line.
There's no trains to West Brom Sunday. I've heard. You got to get back to the bus.
A fantastic segue into what is. Well, you'd think the biggest game of the season for West Brom, but apparently if you're a season ticket at West Brom, you can now, if you're a season ticket holder, buy an extra ticket. So, I mean, clearly it doesn't mean as much to them as it does to us, Harry.
Yeah, I saw that. I was quite surprised. I suppose it's on ITV1. You can give them that excuse. They're in the playoffs. Is it a bit of a distraction? I don't know, but surprising. You'd assume it would sell out pretty quick, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Wolves fans sat in that West Brom home end, which I couldn't do personally. We discussed it, didn't we? Because obviously Jack got a ticket, Sam Bayliss and me couldn't get one in the end, but I would not sit in the home end. I'd end up getting killed, I reckon, because I would go nuts if we scored. I wouldn't care if I was in the home end. So, yeah, but yeah, very surprising. Very funny, just as we're on the subject, the amount of money that's being thrown about as offers for tickets. And also, I was quite surprised how low down it got. I think a lot of people, about 100 people on 1,030 points got a ticket in the end. So it got lower down in the loyalty points in our section, to be honest, which surprised me. So, but whoever's in there, obviously Jack will be in there, whoever's going, going to be an amazing experience. And I think it's going to be very loud. And even at that early time, because people are going to be full of ale, because they're going to be in the pubs from 6 a.m. And it's going to be absolutely fantastic. We're all going to the pub, aren't we, lads? We're all watching the pub together. So it's going to be an absolutely fantastic day. And I can't wait to be sick everywhere after when we're celebrating the win.
Jack, I'm going to come to you now because you're starting fairly early-ish. I mean, we're making the terrible decision to go for a curry and some beers the night before. Just talk us through what your match day plan is.
Well, yeah, we're starting on Saturday night, which is obviously unwise. So
Unwise.
It's a bit difficult to plan this one because I think because the kickoff being at 11:45, they don't really want us to drink before, and I'm getting that vibe really. So originally we were like, well, we will just go to the Wetherspoons in Stourbridge, but that doesn't start serving until 9 o'clock, I don't think. So I don't really know what's. I know. I thought they started serving as soon as they opened, but no, there's a couple of hours chill time. So I don't know if anyone in the comments knows of any pub Stourbridge way which are opening earlier than that. That would be a helpful shout. But the plan on paper is we're going to get a taxi from Stourport to Stourbridge at about 7:30 in the morning, have some breakfast, and then as soon as we can get a beer somewhere, get a beer from there, and then get the train in to the Hawthorns. But you said they weren't running, Harry. Is that correct? Because I thought they were from Stourbridge.
Only from Wolverhampton.
Yeah, if you're catching the train for Wolverhampton, you've got no chance. I think they're putting replacement buses on or something. Yeah.
Okay, no. So yeah, we're just going from Stourbridge Junction to the Hawthorns, which is only a few stops in it. So
can you do that?
That's the plan anyway. Yeah.
Tyler in the comments says going to that big venue, Astoria in Wolverhampton for it. £5 in and a bacon bap on entry. Can't complain.
Did you see? So I was looking on the Wolves website because I was tracking the tickets, and when the Albion game sold out, they replaced it with £15 to go in the WD1 bar at Molineux to watch it with Robbie Dennison. So for £5 less, you can go to Molineux and watch it if you want to.
Now, that's £5 less than going to the actual game. Is there a Stourport connection with Robbie Dennison? Did he used to?
He had a trophy shop
on.
He had a trophy shop in Stourport.
That's a little fun fact. Bayliss, you've been tasked with booking some places, I think. Just tell us what we're going to do. I sort of just follow everyone else. I'm that friend that just lets everybody else organise things, and then I walk. And if I lose them, I will get lost.
I've booked a curry for us in Stourport at 8:30 on Saturday night.
It means the next day, mate.
Yeah, the game we're talking about.
And then on Sunday, yeah, that's where we're starting. That's where we're starting. And then I'll float down the river to about Gloucester way where they dig me out, and that'll be the end of that. I don't know what we're doing. We're going to a pub, aren't we? I don't know which pub we're going to.
The choices are... I'm not even going, and I know this. So you've got two choices realistically, and they are the Porthouse by the river or the Hollybush. So it's up to you which one you choose. Upstairs in the Hollybush will be good, but there'll also be a decent atmosphere.
This has got to mean nothing to people who listen to this who don't live in Stourport. But I've seen the Hogs Head in Wolverhampton are opening early. I don't know if it's ticketed, but there'll be loads of places in Wolverhampton opening early, won't there, for it? But yeah, we'll be in our local in Stourport. But like I say, people who haven't even got a ticket, it's on ITV1, so the whole of the Black Country are going to be watching, whether it's in a house, whether it's in a pub. People are going to be up early. People are going to be on the beers early. People are going to be nervous. And hopefully we get our first win at the Hawthorns since we were 5 or 6, 1996, wasn't it? So a lot riding on it. I'm really not nervous, though. I don't know why.
No,
we shouldn't be, though, should we? We shouldn't be, I don't think, because...
you're committing this to, evidence.
I know this is recorded and everything, but, I'm really pleased with the way we're playing at the moment. We're really difficult to beat. And a lot of it will come down to team selection, won't it? So if we go strong, which I think O'Neill will, he knows how much he's riding on this for us. There might be 1 or 2 changes from the other day, but you think that we've got the quality to go there and beat them, haven't you? Really, but it's a derby, and our record there is poor, so anything can happen. But I think they should be more nervous than we should be on paper.
Oh yeah,
well, I think that's probably why they haven't sold out.
I think
they have now.
They
It's
did
sold
sell
out.
to
It had sold out now. Yeah.
Finally,
I mean, the way I look at it, I mean, looking back at some of their recent results, they're a lot better at home than they are away. But I watched their game against Norwich. Neto and Cunha should be rubbing their hands together to have a run at them at what their back four were like against Norwich. But at home, they seem to turn it on. So, their fans will be up for it, all clapping with their 12 fingers. So...
Yeah, I watched that game, Bayliss, and they had a lot of the ball. And what Norwich did was hit them on the counter a few times, and that's what we're really good at. You did mention I think they've only lost 2 at home in the Championship, which worries me slightly. So I think they are a bit better at home. But I was speaking to an Albion mate at work today, and they've got so many injuries. Albion, they've got a lot of their best players out. So that's a good thing for us. We've got Ait-Nouri coming back, haven't we, potentially, but he'll probably be on the bench. But it's all in our hands. The pressure is all on us. But I think back when we played Albion like 2007, like 4 or 5 times that season, when we had them in the playoffs and the FA Cup, I used to hate playing them just because I was at school at the time. We had a lot of Albion mates. They'd wind you up. I hated it. Honestly, whenever we lost to Albion back in the day, I'd like switch my phone off. I couldn't speak to anyone because I cared. I think I cared a lot more back then. Now, although it is a big rivalry, it is still the biggest rivalry. Yeah, basically, I've got no mate. But now I don't care as much. I will be gutted if we lose, don't get me wrong. But I think because we haven't played them properly, I don't know, I think it's diluted a bit. But I would be gutted if we lost, don't get me wrong. I really would. But yeah, I'm confident. I've already put £5 on us to beat them 4-1. I've already had the bet. So I'm confident we're going to beat them quite convincingly. I hope that don't come back to bite me on the ass, but I really am feeling it. But Ali Anley's the only one I ever speak to now. He's always on Twitter, and he speaks about Wolves more than he does West Brom on Twitter. And he's a West Brom fan, so we live in their head rent-free with our success.
I'm a bit confused. There's a Daniel Bayliss in the comments, which is saying that he's doing beer all morning and food, watched on the big screen at Kidderminster.
What I've done is I've signed my dad up to a YouTube account on his tablet and not logged out.
Hi, George. Hope the ankle's okay. Harry, there's a good question in the comments regarding Ait-Nouri. Do you think he will start? Obviously, Algeria have crashed out of the African Cup of Nations at the first hurdle.
No, I don't think he will. There's the fire alarm, by the way, for what we referenced earlier.
It's my chair.
No,
it's my chair.
No, it's not. It's not.
It is.
Is it actually? No, it sounds like a fire alarm. Anyway, Ait-Nouri, no. I think he'd be on the bench, obviously. But I think he'll start Doherty. I think it'll be the same starting lineup as we had against Brighton. And I think Ait-Nouri, if we need him, if we're like chasing the game or we need a bit more attacking threat, I think we will see Ait-Nouri then. But yeah, I think it'll be the same team. He travels back. They said, didn't they, he'll be back later on this week. So he could start, could be surprised, but I think it'll be the same team if I had to guess. And Doherty, I know it sounds a bit stupid. I think Doherty will get it more, won't he? He'll get what it means to the fans more as well. So maybe he might pop up at the back stick and bang an header in. Get his cock out in front of some of it end. I don't know.
In all fairness, Ait-Nouri's not in the best of form the way Algeria have been playing.
Yeah.
That's shocking, isn't it? That one. I haven't been following the African Cup of Nations massively, but Angola. I had a look at the betting before, and they were like 4th or 5th favourites because you think they've got some decent players, haven't they? Yeah, haven't they? Really. So Algeria to finish bottom of a group that contains Angola, Burkina Faso, and Mauritania. It's like. What? How's that even happened, really? So that's a massive shock, really, on paper. And I don't know who the manager of Algeria is, but he must be losing his job over that because that's a shambles, isn't it? Like, but it seems a bit weird. There's been some weird results. Like Ivory Coast the other night, they got battered 3-0 by somebody, didn't they?
Ghana are out. They sacked Chris Hughton. He was their manager.
He's their manager? Wow, that's random.
Wait, what?
I didn't know that. Yeah. He's never gonna get over that, is he?
And on that note,
easier all week. Bayliss, would you make any changes to the side that drew at Brighton? Would you like me to go over it?
I did make it
very quickly.
No, I made a controversial opinion on the messages earlier, and I stick by it. I dropped Sarabia. I think he's been a bit hot and cold, and he's been cold of late. Fraser's a young lad. He knows what Wolves is all about. And I would start Fraser up top, Cunha one side and Neto the other, and give him 45, 50 minutes and just say, go on, mate, make yourself a hero at a club you've been at since you were 5 years old or 6 years old or whatever it was, and you'll be a god. And he's a big fucker as well, so I quite like the idea of him mixing it up with them lot.
You know what that is, Bayliss? That's your emotions ruling your logic.
There is no logic.
I'm getting a bit carried away. Just
you get a bit carried away with
that cup replay. I wouldn't make any changes, to be honest. Really? Like I would keep the same team. The only one you could really think about would be bringing Ait-Nouri in, but I think he's got impact off the bench as well. So I think it's fine just as it is.
Right. Well, I suppose we've got to do a score prediction and hope it doesn't come back and bite us. Harry, I will start with you. I know what you've had already, but just keep
that's my prediction. That's my prediction. I'm confident. I'm going to stick with 4-1 Wolves win. I'm really confident. I don't know. I shouldn't be, but I am. Just before you go on to Jack and Bayliss, Jack, will you be really upset if we lose? Because you're going to be in that away end as well.
Yes, because I'll probably get bricks thrown at me on the way out. It'll be a bit annoying, wouldn't it?
Just get old women as shields, you'll be all right.
And all sorts thrown in the end. In that time, as a toilet seat came flying over once. So,
what?
Toilet seat. Yeah, someone obviously nicked out the toilets at half time and then threw it at us when Carlos Vela scored.
Yeah. It was just as bad the year after. Did you go the year after when we lost 2-0, Jack? When I think Chris Brunt and someone else scored.
I don't think I did go to that one. I can't remember. No.
He's on a Sunday. I went with Lewis. You know Lewis, don't you? That was horrible. But yeah, it's a horrible place to go. It's going to be kick off, isn't it? It's going to kick off in town.
It's
big time. It's going to be bad. Oh yeah, yeah.
Even with the quarter to 12 quick kickoff, people are going to plan around it, and there's going to be people going out and drinking all Saturday night, starting at brushing their teeth with a pint of Stella in one hand and a tough brush in another, and then bottle of Jaeger on the train. It's just that's what's going to happen. So it's going to help, but it's going to be interesting if nothing else. But heads down and just heads down, go in there, do the job, and flip them all off at the end.
Score prediction, Dan.
Oh, I'll go with the logic then, as I didn't earlier. My complete logic says 2-0 Wolves. We are the better side. We should cruise this. But 5-1, please. Oh, God, it would be beautiful.
Now that will get clipped up. Jack finishes off. So
3-0 Wolves.
Oh, wow. I think that's the biggest score that you've come out with.
Great shout by Ray. Ray, I read that too. Ray, basically.
So Ray says, I read somewhere that Fraser is a Villa fan.
All his family are Villa fans. He grew up a Villa fan, but I think he did say, obviously, because he's been at Wolves since he was a boy, he has changed his allegiance slightly. So we're forgiven.
He should still have the Albion either way, shouldn't he? So that's fine.
That's a very good point. Ethan says, would you take relegation if it means we beat them 6-1?
Yeah.
No. No.
Well, no, you don't want to get relegated because then we'll be in the same league.
If we get relegated from where we are now, that takes some doing. That's an absolute travesty. I think we're two wins from safety with the way the league's shaping up.
It's exciting now. I'm very, very excited. Like Harry said, don't really feel that nervous compared to when we've played them in the past. So we shall see what happens. Watch this space. Let's move on to Africa Cup of Nations, Asian Cup, and some transfers.
You know the bets?
No bets. No bets.
Sorry, Dan. Sorry.
Bloody hell.
Come on, don't steal Dan's thunder.
Wolves are obviously favourites.
Oh wow!
I threw together some scorecasts that I kind of liked the look of. 2-0 Wolves, Lamina first goal, 50-1. Not a vast amount out there at the low scores. Ari, I've got one for you. Cunha to score first, 4-1 Wolves, 140-1.
Oh, be rich.
And Craig Dawson to go back there, score the first goal, 5-1 Wolves, 1,000 to 1. Thank
Wow.
you very much.
It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
I've got to put
It's
a quid
one-
on it now, haven't I?
I've been saving that. I don't think we've ever got a bet right, or it's a very long time since we
I
did.
think I did once in 2019.
Excellent. Okay, Jack, do you want to try any ticket news, or we've had your ticket news for the year, which was
that was a one-off special with the way the ticketing site is now. Yeah, Albion on Sunday sold out. Shocker.
How much you selling your ticket for, Jack? If I offer now, how much?
How much you got?
I'll give you about 50 quid for it if you want to. No.
No, it's not worth. No,
no.
Stick a no on the end. I'd consider it, but
Still no. Right. Okay. Let's now move on to Asian Cup, Africa Cup of Nations. Obviously, Algeria are out. Mali play Namibia tomorrow, which is Boubacar Traore's country. They're currently top of their group on 4 points. Looks like they'll go through. South Korea currently second in their group, and they have Malaysia at 11 a.m. GMT on Thursday. So if you're listening to this, it should be about to kick off or kick off in a few hours, depends on when you're listening. They are, second in the group, 4 points.
They just need a point, I think. They just need a draw in that last game, and I think they'll get it because the other two obviously are playing each other. It's quite close. So, and I think Malaysia have lost both their games so far. So I think they'll be fine going through. It'd be a massive shock if they went out, to be honest. But they'd have to lose to Malaysia, which I think is unlikely.
No, it's incredible actually what she's done since she was page 3 model. She's in the jungle as well, and Jordan is top of that group currently. So, very, very good.
Yeah,
right.
He's out
Joke for the older listeners there.
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look at some transfers or possible transfers. Harry, I've seen Fabrizio has tweeted today about Broker at Chelsea. It's looking like it could be a loan deal now, because I think they wanted something stupid like 50 million for him, and everyone's gone, no, I'm okay, thanks. Do you think there's any mileage in that one?
Yeah, it looks like a good deal. I think I mentioned it last week, didn't I? He hasn't really gone to plan for him there, and it makes sense. A loan, bit of backup. I'm sure he'll want to prove himself, so I can see that one definitely. And the fact that Fraser didn't come on against Brighton tells me that O'Neill doesn't fully trust him, which is understandable for his age, but maybe we got carried away with it because he pretty much got us the Black Country Derby, really, didn't he? Get that equaliser, who's a big part of it. So if he does come in, Fraser will go out on loan, but I wouldn't mind it. I'll take it. He's highly rated. I haven't watched him much, I must admit. I just know it hasn't gone to plan at Chelsea, but yeah, definitely take him.
Jack, do you think there's time to get a striker in potentially? I mean, it's about a week until the window closes.
There's definitely time, and we have to do something, don't we? Really, we can't just rely on players coming back from the African Cup of Nations. But at the same time, I don't think we will now with the way it's shaping up. Really, I think that it's going to be a case of Hwang comes back and he's the player that there's, it's like having a new signing back in the squad, especially with the way the league shaping up and with the financial fair play restrictions only semi being lifted. There's probably no reason to gamble if you're looking at it from the board's level. So I'd be good to get somebody in, but I'm 50-50 now. So whether it would happen, I think it might not.
But it's one of those, isn't it? It seems to be one of those transfer windows where really nothing is happening. I think it's only Spurs that have made any actual movements with multi-million-pound signings so far. It may be a little bit of a domino effect of people wanting to obviously bring in players before they're letting you go. Players like Calvin Phillips moving to West Ham on loan may start a little bit of a domino effect. But do you see much business being done between now and February?
I'm sort of optimistic. I think they will get something in. I mean, he went into a press conference today, didn't he, and sort of said, we're working on it, which they don't tend to say that unless they've got something ticking over in the background. So I think we'd take any goal scorer, potential goal scorer at the moment that's just there, can put a shift in on loan, maybe with an option to buy at the end. We've got to accept that, haven't we? I
know we said it before, but I mean, letting Sasha go to Eintracht Frankfurt without anyone to come in, it just seems bizarre to me, Harry. I know we've sort of mentioned it before, but as the window sort of slips away, it seems even more crazy.
Yeah, it does. And we've had a few, like Tyler said in the comments, Johnny's going, isn't he? I think we've terminated his contract or whatever it is. Mascara's gone. He was on the bench against Brighton, wasn't he, Mascara? He's gone to Villarreal, I think it is. And there's another outgoing, or I forget now. Could be making that up in my mind. But yeah, a few outgoings, so they're clearing the wages a little bit, especially Johnny. He'd been on big wages. So maybe the fact that we've terminated his contract, maybe that leans towards more that we might get someone in, because we've got the wages free. And yeah, I hope we do. But as we know, January is a hard window and it's squeaky bum time towards the end because clubs try and demand more than what the players were for most of the time.
Yeah, you do pay a little bit of a January premium, don't you? I mean, Jack, do you think Wolves would or should be after someone like Calvin Phillips? I know it's a position that we're looking okay in at the moment, but he's an England international. He's been training with some very good players over at Manchester City.
I just couldn't see it really. Like I can't recall. I can't recall any signing that we've made that was that sort of high level English player from Man City, even on loan, that has ever come to us really.
Doyle.
Yeah, but there's a bit of a difference between the price tag of what they paid for Calvin Phillips, isn't there? Who's arguably established, whereas Doyle's only played in the Championship really at first team level. So no, it's just not our sort of signing, is it really? And a lot of the time, these players, if they do go out on loan from these top clubs, they end up going somewhere in London or to a big club elsewhere, don't they? So we can't change our geographical location, and I don't think we pay the wages for it, to be honest, because we probably have to pay most of it, and God knows what they're paying him. So
I just hope we don't make the same. I know. Look, this season was objective stay up. But I don't want us to make the same mistakes we did under Bruno Lage. We got to the end of January looking like, oh my God, we've got a European push on potentially. We got rid of Traore on loan, didn't bring anyone in, and it shot us in the foot and we dwindled away. So look, Steve said, a few injuries will screw us, but I don't want to get too greedy. I don't want to get too expecting too much because I just wanted to survive this season. So how messy it was in the summer. So the fact that we're even talking about a potential late European push is absolutely incredible on Gary O'Neill's part. So yeah, whatever they do, it's up to them.
Now, just before we move on to the quiz, there was a slight debate on the group chat about, I think it was about Jota, and our American friend Aaron was saying that Jota has appeared in Team of the Week again, and he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Which got us on to thinking, who is the best player of the last, I think, Harry, you put out a poll last 20 years. You put Jota, Jimenez, Neves, or other. My shout for it would have been Raul in his prime or Ruben Neves. Neves came out 73% of the vote. Were you surprised by that? I know you're a big Jota fan, and he would probably be your pick.
I'm not surprised by it at all because obviously, if you just go on Wolves, yeah, Neves. But the way I was thinking of the question, which maybe I'm wrong, is who is the best player in the last 20 years in terms of ability to play for Wolves? And for me, it's Jota. I mean, look what he's doing for Liverpool. He's an incredible finisher. And I know towards the end for us, he was a bit out of favour. And he was on the bench a little bit, but he was playing in the Europa League a lot. And I think he fell out with Nuno a bit as well and eventually left. But Jota, in terms of ability, for me, is the best player in my lifetime I've ever seen at Wolves. I know people will say Neves, but we ain't really missed Neves this season, have we? I mean, Lamina and João Gomez and Tommy Doyle have filled in, haven't they? Let's be honest. Would we be much better off if Neves was in midfield? For me, I don't think we would be. And it showed last season when Gomez and Lamina covered him when he was suspended for those few games, we could cope. Don't get me wrong, love Neves, hero, incredible player. But when Jota left, we missed him so much. We couldn't replace him really. And we probably have now. Neto has obviously got coming to his own, had a few injuries, but Diogo Jota in that spell under Nuno when we've got the two back-to-back sevenths, what a player. Incredible. The way he'd run up the pitch, his finishing, his low centre of gravity. I agree with Aaron. I think I'm with Aaron. I think Jota's the best Wolves player I've ever seen in my lifetime. A lot of people said Moutinho as the other. A lot of people say Moutinho. Yeah. So but as each their own, isn't it?
Were you shaking your head there, Dan?
Moutinho for me. If you say the best footballer of the last 20 years, including their time at Wolves and not at Wolves, the things Moutinho's done, he's won a European Championship, for God's sake. And
good point.
His football was fantastic. I think people say Neves because of it being Ruben Neves and the goals he scored.
Grant Hall.
But Matinho was liquid football. He was class. Absolutely brilliant.
I think the thing with Jota, and I'll move on to you now, Jack, because you are also a big Jota fan. But, you know, when we sold him for, what was it, £45 million, I think we were all like, that's a brilliant deal for us. So, I mean, it's a little
He's
bit
not
of
a favourite at the time.
He's gone on to do something, but he's gone into a Liverpool squad where they spent £500 million and they create more chances and they score more goals and they get dug out of it by Salah quite a lot of the time.
He scored goals for us as well, Sam. He scored goals for us as well.
He did
He's
score
a goal
16
scorer about the level.
16 goals.
The thing about Jota is, and we're not blessed with ever having this at Wolves, really, is you could tell straight away, even from his season in the Championship, that he could finish. He just was a natural finisher. He has that ability where he's just very calm and he can put the ball in the net in ways that other players just wouldn't think of. And he's really calm with just whether he, lost it over or whatever, right place, right time, whatever it is. And that's the thing that really drew me to him, because I remember saying on this podcast that he's probably my favourite player. Not necessarily our best player, but he's my favourite player just from the fact that the way he runs and the way he finishes. And, Liverpool spotted that, didn't they? They spotted that, even though he was out of favour, even though at the time we thought 45 million was a bad deal for them. And they've capitalised on it. So, fair play to them, fair play to him. He's up there. He's up there in the conversation. I think the fact that he wasn't getting the team at the end kind of overshadows the whole conversation a little bit. But you remember, when he joined Liverpool just from the start, we were all making a joke every week about, he scored again, or he's assisted again. And there's a reason for that. And the fact he can do it in our team and still, it should be easier to do it for Liverpool, really, with the chances that they create. So all that's said and done, the answer to that question, though, is still Ruben Neves. So...
Gaz Wolf says, I agree with Sam. At the time, Podence is better than Jota. We should both hang our head in shame. Yes.
Worst take you've ever had, that is, Sam. Worst take you've ever had on this podcast.
It's certainly up there. Certainly top 10. Speaking of which, let's move on to a quiz. Harry has a quiz.
It's got a bit different this week, lads. Instead of going individually, I've got 9 questions and you're going to shout out the answer. And whoever gets the most points wins, okay?
Lovely. Who's getting the best Wi-Fi?
It's cool.
Some great listening.
What, is my Wi-Fi gone?
No, don't worry.
Oh, basically, it's who am I? And it's not Wolves players. It's basically Premier League players. I'm going to read out a few clues. If none of you get it after I've read out the 3 clues, you crap, and I'll give you the answer. Or someone in the comments can get it. Question 1, yeah. So if you know it, just shout it out. Right, here we go. I originally played Gaelic football. I cost Everton £60,000 in January 2009.
Seamus Coleman.
Well done, Bayliss. 1-0.
So it's not Wolves. Okay, right. Okay.
No, it's anything. Anyone.
Oh, right. Okay.
Well done,
I
Bayliss.
was trying to think of Irish Wolves players then.
The clue after that was I suffered a broken leg playing for Ireland in 2017. So well done. Question 2. As a kid, I started off as a goalkeeper. I won 4 Premier League titles. I left I left Manchester City in 2020 after 10 years at the club. They're all of them.
Johnny Evans.
Company.
No, Man United.
Both wrong. Sam, we'll let you go because they're both wrong. Manchester City. Not Man United.
Oh, you said Man United.
Sorry. Yeah, I left Man City in 2020 after 10 years at the club. 4 Premier League titles.
Aguero.
As a kid, I started off as a keeper. No. Anyone in the comments?
Aguero, a keeper.
Yaya Toure.
No. I'll give Sam and Jack another guess each if no one in the comments gets it. No. 4 Premier League titles. No one in the comments has got it yet. Jack, one more last guess and we'll move on.
I don't know anything else.
Do you want his nationality?
Barry.
No, his nationality is Spanish. One last go each.
David Silva?
Yes, Bayliss.
Was a keeper, was he? Wow.
He started off as a keeper, David Silva. 10 years at Man City. What a player.
That's very big.
2-0. 2-0 to Bayliss. So question 3, player 3. I was released from Chelsea's academy in 2014. At the end of the 29th... Well done. Yes. God, that give it away, didn't it? The other clues were, at the end of 2019, I won Hammer's Young Player of the Year 3 years in a row. Switched to England Alliance in 2019. Well done, Sam. Got that. That's the quickest one yet. Number 4. I had 2 loan spells at Sunderland, and I'm Northern Irish. I have played for 3 Premier League clubs, which are Man United, West Bromwich Albion, and Leicester.
Johnny Evans.
That's true.
Yes.
Very good. Very good.
Well done, Jack. So after 4 questions, it's 2-1-1 to Bayliss. Question 5. My move to Man United was the highest fee paid for a teenager at the time. I was named Premier League Player of the Month in my first month in England. No. Last clue. I have scored 63 goals in 203 appearances in the Premier League so far. Any guesses, anyone?
Garnacho?
I moved.
How many? 63?
No. I moved to Man United and it was the highest fee for a teenager at the time. Any other guesses? Anyone
What was
in
the
the
last clue?
comments?
'Cause I think I might have shouted over it.
I have scored 63 goals in 203 appearances so far for Man United. He's still at Man United now.
Oh, is it Rashford?
No,
No,
he
no.
used to come from the academy, didn't he?
Oh, Martial.
Well done, Martial. Did someone in the comments get it? No, well done,
No.
Sam. Well done. Sam equalises to Bayliss.
Yeah.
Martial, he's been there years now, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Player
That's pretty good.
6. I've won the World Cup. Narrows it down, doesn't it? I won back-to-back titles with 2 different clubs. I paused there because I thought you'd get it. And I smile a lot. I made that last one up.
I smile.
The big clue is I've won back-to-back titles with 2 different clubs.
I was going to say
I've
Mark
won the World
Schwarzer,
Cup.
but he has not the won the World Cup, has he?
Oh, is it Scott
Um,
Clark? No, you didn't want to.
I'll give another club. I'll give another clue off the top of my head, just because that last one I smile a lot, which a lot of people will get it. Another clue is I'm French.
It's Chelsea, Leicester, and it's
Giroud.
no,
No.
he's a midfielder.
Jack's on the right line.
Yeah,
Jack's on the
a
right
midfielder
line.
who went from Leicester to Chelsea, centre
Kante.
midfield.
Kante. Are we
Yes.
giving it Sam? We're giving it Sam.
Yeah,
Give us the answer. Oh, well done. It is Kante. I thought the smile a lot would get you. Someone got it. Ethan Howell got it in the comments, just as Sam did as well. Player 7. I began my career in Leeds Academy in 1996. I have made the most ever England under-21 appearances with 46. I have won every single major club honour apart from the Europa League, but I did become runners-up in 2016 with Liverpool.
Is that Milner?
That was gonna say
Yes,
that's
well
Milner,
done,
yeah.
Bayliss. Fucking hell, yeah. Bayliss is equal with Sam on 3.
With 2 to go.
With 2 to go. I joined, question 8, I joined the Prem from an Italian club. I have won a Premier League title. I only ever got 1 assist in my whole Premier League career.
Balotelli.
Whoa, Bayliss,
Well
straight
done.
in.
And it was the
Please,
QPR
Balotelli.
one that won them the title.
It was-
That's why it's
Yeah,
famous.
it was. Yeah. It was the one that set up Aguero.
Yeah, but one.
Well done, Bayliss. So Sam needs to get this to equalise, or Bayliss has 1. Last one. I scored over 100 league goals in my club career. I won the Europa League, the FA Cup, and the League Cup in 1 season. I was a
Michael
centre
Owen.
midfielder.
Oh,
No, I was a centre midfielder.
What was the first bit? Sorry.
I scored over 100 goals in my club career. I won the Europa League. It was the UEFA Cup back then. FA Cup
Peter
and League
Crouch.
Cup in 1 season.
Peter
McManaman.
Crouch.
No, not McManaman. He might have been in that team though. Not Crouch.
Came from Italy.
I'm English.
Hargreaves.
No.
No. I think-
I won the
He's
treble with
English, but
Liverpool.
He's English, but used to play in Italy.
No, he never played in Italy. I don't know where he got that from.
Where's Italy come from? Someone's okay.
I thought so.
I need to listen better.
He won the treble in 2001 for Liverpool. Centre midfielder, English,
Gerrard.
scored over 100 goals. Gerrard. There we go. Bayliss wraps it up. 5-3-1 to Bayliss. There we go. That's the end of the quiz. Stephen Gerrard.
Lovely.
Well done.
Look at that. We're not too bad outside of Wolves then. Thank you very much for that, Harry. Look, best of luck if you are going to the Hawthorns on Sunday, and best of luck if you're watching it in the pub and you're starting very, very early. Drink responsibly. We know we probably won't be. Speaking of which, it's a goodbye from Harry Mounsell,
Goodbye.
Dan Bayliss,
Goodbye, Wolves fans.
and Jack Williams.
Bye, everybody.
And it is a goodbye from me. Goodbye.